Welcome to the Visa Mo, Sagot Ko, ang kauna-unahang lingguhang talakayan ng mga bagong balita at batas ukol sa Australian Migration Law and Process. Tuwing Miyerkules 6 to 6:30 ng gabi mula sa Auspac Visa. Auspac Visa is a trusted Australian migration agency for Filipinos all over the world. Auspac Visa is the home for all Filipino professionals, skilled workers, partners, families, students, graduates, and trainees who want to visit, live, work, and permanently stay in Australia. Makipanayam dito sa Visa Mo, Sagot Ko, ang kalahating oras na talakayan ng mga balita, batas, proseso, at mga isyung tungkol sa pag-a-apply ng Australian visa. Kasama niyo po si Teresa Cardona, Director, Lawyer at Registered Migration Agent mula sa Auspac Visa sa Brisbane, Australia. Paalala lang po na ang mga talakayan at mga impormasyong mababanggit sa programang ito ay sa pawang mga impormasyon lamang at hindi payong legal at hindi rin at walang kinalaman sa mga personal at natatanging sitwasyon ng mga nanonood at nakikinig. Ang Australian Immigration Law ay madalas na nagbabago kung kaya't makabubuti na ugaliing magsayasat at humingi ng payong akma sa inyong pansariling pangangailangan. At ngayon, live mula sa Brisbane, Australia, ang inyong host at tagapagtalakay ng mga balita, issue, batas at proseso na nauukol sa Australian Migration and Visa Application, Teresa Cardona, Director, Lawyer, and Registered Migration Agent from Auspac Visa.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So we're back. It's Wednesday. Visa Mo, Sagot Ko. Hatid po sa inyo ng Auspac Visa. So magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. And say good afternoon. Hello, hi. Kung saan man kayo nanonood sa amin. No? So medyo na-miss namin itong Visa Mo, Sagot Ko. And for sure, most of you know na medyo busy from the moment we opened the Philippine office, and then Christmas holidays, and then pasok ng bagong taon, we were swamped with so many cases, so many applications already, at medyo nagkasakit ng kaunti, but we're back on track. So maraming salamat doon sa walang tigil na nanonood kahit na yung ibang nire-run namin ay replay dun sa mga iba nang nagawa namin in the past. No? So maraming salamat. And today, maraming salamat din po sa mga bumabate at dun sa patuloy na nagtatanong kung anong gagawin tungkol sa kanilang mga visa o sa kanilang situation. Good evening sa iyo, Charlene Notario. Okay, so let's start quickly, So medyo mahaba yung ika-catch up namin kasi medyo nawala kami, and I'm sure maraming magtatanong kung ano na ang kanilang mga sitwasyon tungkol sa kanilang Australian visa application. Okay, but first things first, hindi ako masyadong magbibigay ng updates, kasi marami tayong ika-catch up at the moment. So medyo bibigyan ko lang kayo ng ano ba yung trends ngayon, bakit busy kami, ano yung mga ginagawa ng ibang tao na maybe most of you do not know, or maybe yung iba rin sa inyo ay nandoon na or papunta na doon sa mga developments at gustong makaabot sa kung ano yung pwede pang gawin while you still have time at bago magkaroon o maging epektibo yung mga changes na binagit last year, no? So unang-una, student visa, proof of funds. Ito yung show money na walang tigil nakatatanong, walang tigil nakalituhan, confusion. Ano ba ang gagawin? Bakit maraming refusals, no? If you can remember, last year, no, merong announcement, hindi ba, na unang-una magiging stricto sa mga student visa applicants. Second, hindi napapayagan yung magpalipat-lipat ng course. Third, ayaw nang pwedeng isama yung mga families, yung may mga asawa, ang gusto ay single applicant lang. And then fourth, magiging stricto doon sa evidence of funds. And then fifth, of course, nandiyan yung sinasabing papalitan na yung GT statement, magiging test na, magiging GST na, no? Pero ang question do'n, meron na bang mga nangyayari o meron na bang ginagawa ngayon, okay? So, just to be clear na wala talagang batas na explicitly nagsasabi na yung mga yon ay applicable sa mga student visa applications. Pero kagaya ng lagi kong sinasabi, under Subclass 500, merong discretionary power ang case officer to make a decision under the genuine temporary entrant provisions. So meaning to say, anything goes. No? Kung halimbawa sabihin ng case officer, I don't like this because it doesn't appear like she or he is a genuine student coming to Australia, then your application will be refused. Now, ano yung mga bagay na pwedeng gawin, which is, being done now by some people. Unang-una yung age ng bata. Lagi ko naman sinasabi rin ito sa mga previous discussions ko, no? You have to be consistent with what you wanted to do. Ngayon, kung ikaw ay 30, 35 years old na, well, obviously, vet course is no longer for you, no? Bakit pa ba ba? Um, and kung ito naman ay hindi ka nakatapos ng program mo before nung nandiyan ka sa Philippines at halimbawa second year college ang natapos, baka pwede mo nang gawin yan dyan kaysa pupunta ka sa Australia to do the vet course. No? So what is consistent with the 30, 32, 35 years old? Well, obviously master's degree. If not master's degree, if they've done their master's, then PhD degree. So something that will push them or will obviously see the progress in their career, no? O kaya yung very relevant sa ginagawa nila. Ngayon, for the young ones, of course, yung mga vet course, applicable na lang yan, syempre, dun sa mga graduate ng year 12 o yung starting their career, siguro mga 1, 2, 3 years experience in their chosen vocational occupation, then okay, so go for it. Malaki yung chance na ma-approve. And then, syempre, yung mga bata na this is really the target now, no? The elementary and high school students to come over to Australia to study because they are genuinely coming to Australia to study. So, no problem with the GTE requirements, no? So, kaya yung mga parents na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, paminsan ay, kasi minsan sa aking mga interview sa parents, no, sa kanilang mga consultations, the usual thing that they tell me is I want my son to go to Australia in order to help us para makatrabaho siya doon. Pero ang kinukuha is student visa. So please take that away from the mentality that the students on a student visa are coming to study. They're not coming to work. Kung ganun yung mangyayari, working visa ang applyan. So, tanungin kung dapat at meron nga ba para sa working visa. Okay? So, in other words, for student visa, ang question dyan, savings ba o annual income ba? Yung proof of income, yung proof of funds na kailangan. So, again, dalawa yun. No? Pag savings, well, obviously, there is a calculation na pwedeng ibigay sa inyo ng education agent nyo o migration agent. Magkano ba yung savings na nandyan sa bangko na ipapakita mo sa immigration? Now, the savings needs to be in your account at least 3 months before you make an application. So, hindi pwedeng pag hiningi ng case officer, saka kayo maghahagilap kung nasaan yung pera. Remember, student visa or coming to Australia to study, magastos po. So, yung mga parents o yung estudyante, dapat may pera talaga kayong nakalaan dyan. Huwag na kayong makikinig dun sa iba na no evidence of funds, no English, no whatever. Because kung wala kayo nun, then you are not a genuinely coming to Australia to study. Okay? So, wag nyo nang paniwalaan yun at baka masayang at ma-refuse lang yung application nyo. Or kung walang savings sa bangko o hindi kaya yung 35, 45, or 75,000 evidence of funds na pwedeng hingiin, ang sinasabi ko pwede ha, hindi mandatory pero karaniwan ngayon hinihingi na. Okay, kung wala kayong pera na ganoon, then you have to show the annual income of the people supporting you, like for example, your parents. So dapat meron silang at least 72,000 Australian dollars annual income in the last 2 years. No, hindi yung ngayon, no, hindi yung in the future o hindi yung last 5 years. Wala nang pakialam yung 5 years. The last 2 years, you have to establish na yung mga parents niya o yung sponsor niya ay talagang may kitang ganon. No? So easy, sa taxation records, bangko, payslip, yun yung papakita nyo. Ngayon, kung walang ganon at wala din yung isa, then wag kayong umasa na mayroong pag-asa yung inyong student visa. I'm sorry, I'll be very, very blunt ngayon, no? Kasi marami pa rin yung iba na nagsasabing makakakuha sila ng student visa na walang evidence of funds. So please, kung gusto nyo at least yung application nyo, then go for it. Decision nyo iyan. So yun yung gusto kong ibigay sa inyo at the moment na karaniwang sitwasyon. And also, mind you, at this stage in time, the colleges and universities are actually asking now for your evidence of funds, for your money. No? So wag niyo antayin na ay hingi naman yan sa hingi naman yan doon pagka nag-apply na. Hindi ko kailangan yan ngayon basta makabayad lang ng tuition fee. No, no. Because the school now wanted to make sure that your visa will be granted kaysa magtrabaho sila ng pag-enroll sa inyo pagkatapos hindi rin pala kayo mabibigyan ng visa. Now also, for the applicants from the Philippines, marami na pong school ngayon na nag-relax sa pagtanggap ng applications from the Philippines. Okay? When I say relax, hindi actually relaxation yon. Sabi lang nila relax. That's their terminology. But that's not relaxation. That means to say na hindi mo na kami kukuha sa Philippines ng mga applicants, ng mga estudyante. Bakit? Kasi napakataas ng refusal rate ng mga applicants from the Philippines. Why? Because of the problems that I have already explained. Okay? So, savings or annual income, pareho yan. Parehong bearing yan. Kung wala ka sa savings, edi punta ka sa annual income. Kung wala ka pareho, don't attempt to apply for student visa. I am definitely sure it's going to be refused. Wait for some other time na magkaroon ng ibang batas that will favor you. Okay? Now, second question ng marami, graduate visa, totoo na bang nagkaroon ng mga changes? Last year, again, sabi nila magkakaroon ng changes mid-year about those people who can apply for graduate visa after finishing their course, the 2 years course in Australia. Now, that was an announcement. It hasn't taken effect yet, so just to be clarified na wala pa po yung batas na sumusuporta dyan. Now, graduate visa is not like student visa na merong discretionary powers ang case officer to decide based on the GTE. The graduate visa is different. Ang sinasabi ng graduate visa, eto may mga requirement 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 at ang hinahawakan nila o ang binabago nila ay yung age eligibility. So at the moment, it's under 50 years old, pwede pang mag-apply ng graduate visa as long as you meet all the other eligibility requirements. Pero yung usap-usapan na 35 years old na ako, hindi na ako pwedeng mag-apply, hindi pa po yun nagiging epektibo. Wala pa pong batas that will back that up. So at the moment, it's the old rule that is still in place. Okay? Now also, nakikita ko ang daming tanong, mukhang mag-overtime tayo ngayon. I will get to your questions. Now, what is in demand at the moment? So this is just to tell you anong nangyayari ngayon. Ano yung ginagawa ng marami ngayon who are in a situation na hindi na maka-apply ng 485, matatapos na yung 408 nila, wala nang susunod na 408 o yung COVID visa, o kaya naman matatapos na yung student visa nila pero hindi sila eligible sa 485. Now, what can they do? So what is in demand at the moment or what is popular at the moment? Now, the most popular now is of course the training visa, yung subclass 407. O kaya naman is yung work visa, subclass 482, which will require employer sponsorship. Okay? Now, marami na kaming nailabas na mga instructional videos ng mga ganitong discussion about the 482. Pero yung 407, yung training visa, hindi pa namin masyadong na-discuss yan. No? And that is the reason why I want to discuss it with you now because a lot of applications, a lot of people, a lot of onshore graduates are going to that pathway. Okay? So question now is what is a subclass 407 training visa? Okay? Now, when we speak of training visa, we're not only speaking of one type. There are different types of training visa. So one is a training visa or occupational visa for the purposes of registration. This is for all those people who want to come to Australia finish up the registration process. Pero merong employer na gustong mag-training sa kanila. So in other words, bago dumating ng Australia, ay narepaso na at pwede na silang mag-traineeship. So pangkaraniwan to dun sa mga physical therapists kung manggagaling sa offshore. O kaya naman yung ibang nurses na nagkaroon na ng APRA registration pero dahil OBA sila, wala silang visa to stay, they went home and now they want to come back with an employer willing to give them that training until such time na makakuha sila ng registration. Or and all the other different types of occupation that will require registration, meron tayong occupational training visa for the purposes of registration. Okay, so anong gagawin? So syempre, yung time na ilalagi mo sa 407, gagamitin mo yon para ma-complete mo yung requirements for registration. Yung mga medical practitioners, mga health professionals, diyan na pupunta karaniwan because there is a registration process for them na medyo mahaba rin at hindi magagawa kung sila ay nasa offshore. Okay, the second one, which is very popular, is occupational training visa to enhance skills. Ito yung mga nakagraduate tapos nagkaroon na ng 12 months work experience in the occupation that they wanted to nominate o kaya naman ay yung closely related occupation or work experience dun sa kanilang inonominate na occupation para sa 407. So karaniwan dito pumapasok yung mga graduates, no? Dito na sa onshore na tapos na nila yung 485 nila pero wala pa silang employer na makuha o kaya naman hindi pa sila eligible for skilled migration. Okay? Now the third one is the capacity building overseas, which has the government support or government funding. Karaniwan ito sa mga offshore, nagtatrabaho sa government o kaya naman yung binigyan ng mga grants ng government to come to Australia to do their training. It could be for 6 months, it could be for 1 year, or even for 2 years. Pero ito ay fully supported ng government. So in the case of the Philippines, fully supported ng government yung training na mangyayari sa kanila. The last one is the capacity building overseas. Intended for professional development. So this could be private. Say, for example, you're working in a private company and you wanted to get a training in Australia and your company has, a sister company in Australia or has found a company or training provider that can give you that training, that's okay. So pwede pa rin yan na gawin. So ngayon, so sabi ko, apat yun, no? And the most popular of this is, of course, one, yung mga gusto ng registration, pero more popular than that is yung number 2, yung to enhance skills. So diyan pumapasok yung junior engineers, kung kag-graduate lang na engineer, 1 year pa lang yung kanyang work experience, o kaya naman yung mga finance managers, finance officer, accountants, and then pwede rin sa mga chef o kaya sa mga cooks, yung mga tradies na mga occupation. So, pwede yung mga areas na iyon. Okay. Paano mag-a-apply sa training visa? Well, there you go. So, in terms of application for a training visa, there are 3 parts. Just like the subclass 482. So, it is the sponsorship, nomination, and visa application. The sponsorship is about the company is sponsoring you, whether it's legally operating in Australia, and walang adverse information, walang problema, and gusto kayong i-sponsor, of course. Now, the nomination is a little bit tricky, and it's something that you need a professional to do, because then you will have to prove why you are nominating someone to occupy that position. That will require a labor market testing. That will also require a training plan. The training plan is something na medyo masalimuot, and you need a professional to actually write that for you, conferring with your employer and yourself in order to identify the skills gap. And then from that skills gap, they will have to write or they will have to come up with a training in order to address those gaps so that in the end you are completely competent with becoming, say, for example, a finance manager or a chef. Okay? So last one is visa application. This is about you. This is about the visa applicant, meaning to say the skills, the competence, the qualification, and of course the 1 year work experience requirement, whether that was completed or not completed. That's very crucial in the application. So you really have to check all your number of hours and making sure that it's fully evidenced so that you cannot be questioned by the immigration. Okay. Now, because we're talking of the visa applicant in third part, there is an eligibility requirements for a visa applicant. So the first one, of course, just like what I have mentioned, kung merong sponsorship part, well, obviously you have to have a sponsor. Now, that sponsorship must have been approved sponsorship. So meaning to say, mag-apply for that sponsorship. And then second, with the sponsorship is the second part. You have to be nominated. So in that nomination, your full details must be mentioned so that hindi mapagkakamalian na ikaw nga yung nominate for the nomination. And then the third, of course, hindi masyadong problema. You have to be above 18 years old. Uh, pero kahit na yun lang yung requirement, you've got to look at other things na wala nga siyang cap for age, but the age must be consistent with experience. Kaya nga sabi ko, because this is parang internship or traineeship, maganda yung mga newly graduate who has, a very short 1 year work experience and now looking up to be trained. So, hindi pwede dito yung 10 taong ka nang nag-occupy ng position na yun, tapos ngayon gusto mong biglang pumasok sa traineeship because wala kang visa. So, well, obviously, that's not genuinely coming. Entering Australia or staying in Australia as a trainee kasi you don't need the training anymore. Okay? So, yeah, but the minimum age requirement is 18 years old. Now, if you are onshore, you have to have a substantive visa that will allow you to apply for subclass 407, which means to say that there are other visas that cannot apply for subclass 407, which includes, of course, the subclass 403, yung international relations or domestic worker, o kaya yung mga nanggaling doon sa mga special category visa or special purpose visa. Now, also yung mga transit visa cannot apply for a subclass 407 as well. Now, health insurance will be required from you. So you have to have the OBHC. And then, of course, the GTE is also there. No? Walang GTE statement na kagaya sa student visa application. But of course, all the other different things that you need to put in order to make your application substantive, then it's all about GTE, genuine position, availability of genuine position, the genuine need of the employer to employ a trainee, and the genuine need to actually fill up the gap, the skills gap of the employee or of the candidate. Now, English is not a problem because it's a very low requirement, so it's only functional English that you will need. If you are a graduate in Australia and you have that 2 years of study in Australia, then you will be exempted. But of course, in order to show that, even if we can all assume that English is the medium of instruction in Australia, kung pagagawa niyo sa amin, then we will still require for an evidence that that is what it is. No? Say, for example, the medium of instruction certificate, which could be, in most cases, in your completion letter. Okay? And yeah, so kailangan wala kang utang sa gobyerno. Sakali mang may utang ka, dapat bayaran mo muna 'yon or pababayaran sa iyo bago magkaroon ng visa grant. And then of course, if you have a refused application or canceled visa, then you don't have the eligibility to apply for 407. But in some cases, if there was a refusal or canceled visa, there are some things that can be done, which I'm not going to explain here because it's a little bit complicated. And it's not for everyone um, to really want to know. Okay. Now, what are the costs of the training visa? Now, the cost could approximately go from 8,500 to 12,000 Australian dollars. And that will include the sponsorship fee, the nomination fee, the training plan, the professional fee, and of course the application fee to the immigration. And what's the time frame? Gaano kahaba ang trabaho dito? That will probably require around 3 weeks to complete one particular application, which will include gathering information, getting information from you, from your employer, prepare, draft all the things that is required for the submission. But of course, the 3 weeks could be 4 weeks, could be 6 weeks, could be 3 months, depending on how quick you can finish the requirements now. In our cases, we don't want to drag it longer, as soon as possible. It could be, the most that we would want to work on one application is 6 weeks, because there's really no point dragging it, and it's hard for us to just follow through whatever you're doing. And I mean, we don't hold the laws, we don't hold the developments and the changes. So ayaw naming tamaan kami nung ganoon, kakahabol, and wala kaming ma-deliver sa inyo. Now, the actual processing time for this application is 21 days to 78 days. But in most cases, and in recent times, there are so many grants and there are so many refusals in 5 days to 8 days. Okay, so I think that's something that you will need to think about. Okay, so I think that's it from me. Hopefully, the training visa explanation help you in your planning. So we will have to go to your questions. Parang ang dami ng questions, ano? Okay, so let's start. The first question is from Mary Lou Dixon. Good evening po. Ano po ang unang dapat gawin ng nephew ko na chef sa Philippines? Gusto po niyang mag-apply as chef dito sa Australia. Kaya ang unang-unang dapat gawin is magpa-skills assessment. So for skills assessment, the skilling authority is TRA, the Trades Recognition Australia. Okay? So yun muna. And then after that, of course, kumuha ng English test, and we'll see and find out kung okay na yan and kung papasa doon sa pass mark na o yung skill select na 65 points. Now, in most cases, para sa chef, marami po sa kanila, kung mga bagong chef pa lang, pumupunta rin po sa 407 visa kung meron silang employer na gustong mag-training sa kanila o mag-provide ng training. And then from 407, pwede silang mag-jump to 482, which is the working visa. And from 482, kung nakatrabaho na sila ng 2 years sa kanilang sponsoring employer, then they can apply for a permanent visa. Okay? Now, all those things, it's up to you. We do all those services if you want to get us. So, yeah, and you can probably book for an initial consultation to find out the details. Okay, so the next one. Ang kasunod na tanong is from Charlene Notario. Ang question ni Charlene is, I am a restaurant manager in regional New South Wales with 2 years total work experience by March 6, 2024. Also a holder of RPL in Diploma of Hospitality Management obtained last 9th January 2023. Now currently on 408 visa until March 2025. I am aiming to apply for subclass 190 or 491. Should I get skills assessment soon as I reach my 2 years experience and currently in 65 points? My salary does not reach 70K, but there are times that I don't complete my 38 hours. Is there a chance for me to get a 190 or 491? Now that question is very, very true for other people as well. Now, if you're looking for a restaurant manager as your nominated occupation, well, obviously, you will need to apply for skills assessment as soon as you meet all the requirements of VTSS or whatever skilling authority is in charge of you. Now, if you want to go for subclass 190 or 491, Yes, especially uh, if you are looking for sponsorship from New South Wales, because New South Wales wants someone who is already working in New South Wales. No? So yun yung pinaka magandang advantage mo kung nandiyan ka na sa New South Wales, because that means na meron kang preference over the others and you are meeting the requirements for sponsorship. But I think at the moment New South Wales is already closed, so maybe you can wait for the next opening. Now, if you are in 65 points and aiming for SATCAS 190, there you may need to add more points to that, because 190 is a permanent visa, and in that particular restaurant manager occupation, you will find out that there are many people in the 90-95 range points, so which means to say that you may not be able to compete well. But for subclass 491, since you are already in the regional area, you may have a better chance with the 491. Okay, so next. The next question is from Mama Susan. Tanong ni Mama Susan, hello po, ask ko lang po, nagmamasteral lang ng electrical engineering po kasi dyan sa Australia ngayon ang asawa ko. Pag na ipatupad na po ang age limit sa 485 visa, ano po kaya ang pwede niyang gawin? So parang ganun, no? If he is already an electrical to go to skilled migration instead of finishing the master's degree. So he can continue with the master's degree, obviously, yung pag-aaral niya. Pero baka naman eligible na siya para sa skilled migration by doing the skills assessment and then get an invitation. So, pero yung question mo, anong gagawin kung mapatupad na 35? Well, I don't know. Kung anong gagawin niya? Well, obviously, maghahagilap siya kung anong klaseng visa ang pwede sa kanya. Either makakuha siya ng 482 employer sponsorship visa, him being an electrical engineer, or a little bit lower than electrical engineer, and then get the 482 visa. But as far as the 485 is concerned, once the government said, yeah, we're going to cut it off to 35, there's nothing much you can do unless the government offers a transitional arrangement. That's all. I cannot answer for the government from this time. Okay. So I think that's it. I think that's my answer to that question. Okay, so next. Antonio Castillo, hi po attorney, how long po need onshore work experience before 82 visa? Pwede na po ba 1 year? TY po. No, you need a 2 years work experience, full-time work experience in order to be eligible for subclass 482 visa. And there are different occupation that would require skills assessment. So you've got to find out what are those. Okay, so 2 years ang kailangan sa 482. And it has to be full-time, not 20 hours. Okay, next. Anna Peñas, hi attorney, sabi ni Anne, may tendency po ba ang case officer na i-reject yung 482 visa if I keep on jumping from one company to another? May tendency po ba? Well, I don't know. Wala na nga. Sa law kasi ngayon, wala na yung tendency test eh. Dati meron yun. So wala na. Tinanggal na yung mga tendency kasi yung tendency ay magkamali ka. So anyway, so may tendency po ba case officer na i-reject yung 482 kung palipat-lipat ka from one company to another? No. As long as there is a very good justification why you are jumping from one to the next. And as long as you're jumping in the view na meron ng approved nomination sa iyo. So kung merong approved nomination, then yeah, no problem. And if you are working in the same occupation, no, hindi yung pabago-bago ng occupation, well obviously that will cause a lot of doubts to the case officer. Pero kung meron kang 482, lumipat ng ibang company, you don't really need to apply for a visa application for yourself. It's only the nomination, but you have to stay in the same occupation as you originally obtained in your first visa. So, and then sabi mo, I arrived here last October with Subquest 400 visa. Now, last January po, nabigyan po ako ng ibang company ng Subquest 482, kaya lumipat po ako. But then, gusto ko na pong bumalik sa dati kong company. Is it okay po na i-take over ng dati kong employer yung bago kong visa? No, that's precisely what I'm saying. You've got to stay dun sa nag-nominate sa iyo ng ng 482. Ngayon, kung gusto mong lumipat, antayin mo sila na mag-apply ng nomination for you. Ngayon, kung approve na yung nomination nila, doon ka lang makakalipat sa kabilang company. So, but hindi pwede yung lipat ka ng lipat ng walang involvement ang immigration because that will be a breach of your condition. Having said that, you have to read your visa grants, guys. Don't just take the visa grant and not minding the visa conditions, no? So you have to read the visa conditions in order to find out what you can do and what you cannot do while in Australia. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Anne. Okay, next one. Is that all we have? Okay. So, Gerard Luz, do you have any opportunities for photographers who want to go to Australia? You mean me hiring a photographer? Or is it Australia that you're looking for? Yeah. Now, now, in terms of opportunities, all jobs are available in Australia. But whether there is a company that would want to sponsor you is another question. So the best thing to do there is, of course, you have to seek. You have to go to different job websites and then approach some employer who want to sponsor you, if that is the kind of opportunity that you are looking for. Okay. Galing kay Aliyah Jamila. Sabi ni Aliyah Jamila, hi attorney, I have visa 600 tourist stream, but I may also go back to Australia for conference, which is a business stream 600. Should I reapply or pwede na ang tourist stream 600 multiple entries for po kasi? Thank you. Okay. Now, if you're coming for a conference and if that will require a business tourist visa, then you do it. Because a tourist visa for leisure is a tourist visa for leisure. Unless na yung conference mo is just, 1 or 2 days. But if you're branding yourself to be coming here for business purposes, kasi pag business purposes, it could be paid or it could not be paid, but it's still work. No? So, you've got to be careful with that. Kung ikaw ay business, that means you will be earning, whether I don't know if the earning will be coming from Australia, then you need to have your business visa to come to Australia, not the tourist one. Okay. Ang importante dun sa tourist visa is you're not working, no work rights you have. Okay. Question galing from Joe Tan Pariolan. Hi, attorney. If my visa 600 tourist stream, multiple entry, if you need to go back for business related, attend the same question to, right? Is it this from the same person? Do we need to reapply? Okay. That's the same question. Okay, so from Michelle Nicolas Broquena. Hi, ma'am. Is it possible to apply for Subclass 407 visa after course completion here in Australia? Subclass 500 expiring on August 2024. Course completion this coming June. Thanks, po. Yes, it is possible, but you have to make sure that you have completed at least 1 year work experience, 12 months, okay, for the nominated occupation, at least post-qualification. If you have that, you have the employer, you have the sponsor, you have the nominator, yeah, it's okay. Yep. Apple Ramirez Kabungkal. Question niya, hi, good evening po. Personal care assistant po or carer po. What are the requirements for 482 visa? Certificate 3 aging individual support or 1 year work experience or 2 years work experience po as PCA? Thank you. Now, PCA is under DAMA. It's under labor agreement. So, the requirements for them to be able to apply for 482 is guided by the labor agreement, not necessarily by the general law about 482. So, which means to say that if you have an employer, you will need to ask the employer what is provided in the labor agreement for you. If the labor agreement stipulates only Certificate 3, no work experience requirement, then so be it. If the labor agreement says, Certificate 3 plus 1 year work experience, then you will have to comply with that. No? So iba ang labor agreement, iba yung DAMA, kahit na pareho siyang 482, iba siya sa mga general or normal requirements ng ibang 482 visa. And normally, those are guided by labor agreement itself. Now, I cannot answer because I don't have a copy of the labor agreement of the company. Pero para dun sa, syempre, sa mga kliyente naming mga companies na merong labor agreement, then we can tell them, yeah, okay, because we have a copy of the labor agreement. Okay? Kaya, pwedeng Certificate 3 lang, or pwede ring 1 year work experience lang, or in some cases, baka kahit na walang Certificate 3 at kahit na walang work experience. So, ganun ka-flexible yung labor agreement, and especially in that area. Kasi yan na yung in-announce noon. No? Unfortunately, walang masyadong nag-fly, walang masyadong natutupad na yung pinramis na maraming-marami hindi nangyayari. Mainly because there are so many stakeholders who are required to approve the labor agreement, and specifically, of course, the participation of the labor union. So they cannot finalize a labor agreement na walang endorsement ng labor union. If the labor union thinks that will affect significantly the situation and the opportunities for Australian citizens, then they probably have to veto or change it a little bit to the point of delaying the process. So yeah, you have to ask the employer for whatever is stipulated in the agreement. Okay. Winbeth San Jose, hello attorney. Do you provide a consultation for someone who would want to work to Australia but is unsure of where to start? Yes, of course. That's exactly our role, to actually find out kung saan ka pwede. We will need to tell you kung meron, and we will also tell you kung wala. No, we don't sugarcoat whatever we say to you in terms of getting an option. So you just have to be open-minded, no, kapag ka gusto mong magpakonsulta sa amin, because at the end of the day, we're not going to advise something that is not deliverable. Kasi baka kunin mo kami, baka kunin mo kaming mag-apply para sa'yo, baka kunin mo yung full service namin kasi hindi pala deliverable yon, no? So that's why we have to be careful. If it is okay, then we proceed. If not, then we don't. Okay. May karugtong yata yung question na yun, paki-post ulit, pakilagay ulit. Although the applicant has significant work experience, is there something that you can suggest? But yes, that's what we do in the consultation. Yes, Winbeth. Okay, so next question. Do we have more? Chris Karan, hi attorney, may skills assessment po ba for chef for 482 visa, 2 years work experience and na po onshore? Now it depends. Yes, if you are a Philippine passport holder, you will need a skills assessment if your work experience and qualifications are derived from overseas. But if your qualification is derived onshore, you may be exempted from skills assessment, but you will still need the 2 years work experience as a chef. Okay. Jenna Estabaya, hi po attorney, tourist visa lang po ako. Possible po bang mag-apply ng skill visa? Pharmacist po ako sa Philippines, 14 years in service. What po kaya possible kong gawin? Oh, okay. If you're a pharmacist, kung tinatanong posibleng mag-apply, kung tourist visa ka, posible. Provided na ready na lahat ng mga paperworks. Pero kung hindi ka pa nakapag-umpisa ng kahit na ano, doon sa mga paperworks na kailangan, magkakaroon ng problema, kukulangin ka sa oras. Kasi yung pagiging pharmacist, medyo mahaba ang proseso niyan sa skills assessment. Okay, so I don't know because hindi ko alam kung what point are you now in terms of processing whatever is required. Ngayon also, mind you, if you're going to ask, pwede bang mag-apply? If we're talking of skilled migration visa 491-189-190, those visa subclasses can only be applied upon invitation. So you will need an invitation to proceed to application. So which means to say it's not your prerogative whether you can apply or not. You will need to wait for the invitation because you cannot apply without the invitation for you to apply. Okay. So yeah, next one. Okay, we are at the end of the question and answer. So hopefully ay nakatulong kami ha doon sa mga nakikinig. And before I end this, so let me invite you to please like, share, and ano pa bang ginagawa? Like, share, and subscribe sa aming mga platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and I think Instagram, and in some TikTok. So if you think discussion in Facebook, so please share it and please invite other friends to come over. Maybe you can help them clarify whatever they need to know about Australian visa processing. Okay, let's move on to the last question. Kay Timothy Castillo. Hi, attorney. Do I need to secure a letter of offer from my Sydney employer before po magpa-consult sa inyo? Salamat po. Now, in some cases, no. Because at the end of the day, you still need to find out ano ba yung mga requirements, papasok ba yung employer mo doon sa mga requirements na yun. And also, the letter of offer is just one of those. No? So, and in most cases, in our experience, we usually check the letter of offer. We try to correct it based on the requirements of the immigration. We want to make sure that it's compliant. Kaya in most cases, nagpaparevise kami ng letter of offer because we want to make sure that the letter of offer is compliant with whatever is required by the immigration. Okay? So, thank you very much for those who came here today and maraming salamat po. I'll see you next week for another episode of Bisa Mo, Sagot Ko. And sana makatulong kahit kaunti sa mga na kaalaman nyo tungkol sa Australian visa processing and of course the immigration law itself. Maraming salamat po and see you on Wednesday. Thank you and good night. Bye.
Australia, the land of opportunity, natural beauty, and endless possibilities. If you ever dreamed of calling Australia your home, Auspac Visa is here to make that dream a reality. At Auspac Visa, we specialize in helping Filipinos secure the Australian visa they need. Our team of experienced immigration experts is here to guide you every step of the way. From visa applications to paperwork, we handle it all. You can focus on planning your new life down under. And when the time comes, we'll be there with you as you take the oath and become an Australian citizen. Join the thousands of satisfied clients who have made their dreams come true with Auspac Visa. Australia is waiting for you. Contact Auspac Visa today and start your journey towards a brighter future. Auspac Visa, your trusted immigration law services. Call us today or visit our website to schedule your consultation.